Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell will join us in studio. Also tonight, we'll hear about a new trauma and addiction program designed to help veterans and first responders, and more on the Henry David Thoreau documentary that recently aired here on Arizona PBS. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell joins us each month to address issues involving her office. And tonight, we touch on her fight to overturn Arizona's anti-SLAPP law and her office's human traffic awareness program. Joining us now is Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. All right, so we got a judge ruling here now regarding the anti-SLAPP, your efforts here to overturn this thing. He says he kind of ruled against you here. You had a couple of reasons for that, but first of all, overall thoughts on the ruling.
Well, I mean, we're taking it up to the Court of Appeals. Obviously, we don't agree. I respect the judge's decision, of course. And one thing I want to be clear about, we're not attempting to overrule or overturn the entire statute. It's the statute as it applies to criminal prosecutors. And as you know, Ted, Arizona is the only state that has tried to even apply this to criminal prosecutions. And
the anti-SLAPP law basically protects against lawsuits that target First Amendment rights.
Exactly, and it's unfortunately been portrayed as a First Amendment issue. It is not a First Amendment issue. You know, obviously I respect the First Amendment and I want to protect people's rights under the First Amendment. This is about a separation of powers issue. It's about whether a judge can inquire into the mental processes of the prosecutor who filed charges, as opposed to just looking at, did these individuals commit a crime?
Yeah, but the judge says basically you're overstepping prosecutorial authority here, and that can't happen. Also, defendants don't need to prove first that they're innocent. I'm not quite sure I understand the reasoning there. What's that all about?
Yeah, there's a portion of the law that says that it's whether they're lawfully exercising their rights. And so the question is, who has to prove whether it was the lawful exercise? Obviously, in this situation, we have individuals charged with unlawful exercise of the rights in that they trespassed. Other cases where we've had anti-SLAPP filed against us include people who have assaulted police officers, but they've done so because they disagree with something that's going on.
So basically, and there's certainly some protests, Palestinian protests were involved here, but any kind of a protest, if something is involved that your office decides criminal charges need to be filed, does the anti-SLAPP ordinance come into play?
Well, that's certainly the interpretation that the defense wants to give it. And unfortunately, the anti-SLAPP law was expanded to criminal prosecutions not to encompass this kind of thing. It was expanded because of the political prosecutions that the legislature was seeing happen across the country against President Trump. It wasn't intended to filter down to this kind of thing. But we have to be able to prosecute people. And the bottom line is this. I don't care what someone's politics are. I care whether they committed a crime or not. And that's what I'm making a decision based on.
But if someone does think that you care, whether you know it or not, about a certain issue, you have certain biases, whether you're aware of it or not, why should you not have to testify in that case?
Well, there is a doctrine already recognized, and it's called selective prosecution. And what that does is it looks at whether there are similar cases similarly treated. And if you look at the record of my office in my administration, you'll see that we've prosecuted protesters on both sides of this issue. We've prosecuted people who have attacked. There was a recent case where somebody attacked those at a mosque. So we are really doing this without regard to your demographics or your political persuasion. I'm looking at whether there was a crime committed.
Why do you think this is a law? Why do you think lawmakers put this into effect? Again, you mentioned, I guess, Republicans were looking at what they considered anti-Trump prosecutions and these sorts of things. But this is written to get just about everyone who a defendant would say, I don't think you agree with my ideals.
Right. And I think, as somebody who has written legislation, I can tell you the hardest thing about writing legislation is to get what you want, but not pull in other things. And unfortunately, this was written so broadly. That's what makes it unconstitutional, and that's what makes it pull in things they didn't intend to.
Where does the case go from here?
The case goes to the Court of Appeals for them to look at the decision of the lower court judge.
Were you surprised the Attorney General expressed support for you on this?
Well, no. In fact, other prosecutors across the state expressed support for this because they see where this is going. They see it as something that's going to tie the hands of prosecutors who are going to be justifying what their own personal beliefs are, as opposed to looking at what their records are as a prosecutor. And prosecutors know we make the decision based on guilt.
Without getting too deeply into the county recorder's fight with the Board of Supervisors, my goodness, we've talked about that enough in a variety of ways, and you're involved with the county recorder in a case involving, his representation. He wants outside counsel. He's got outside counsel. They're doing a pretty good job as far as going up against the Board of Supervisors. Why should the county attorney only be representing county officials?
Well, the law says that the county attorney is the county's attorney. And when I am not able to represent one of the departments of county government, such as in this election dispute between the board and the county recorder, I appoint an attorney to represent them. The concern I have is that when somebody goes out and goes outside the vendor list, goes to a public interest law firm that has other agendas, that's, not taking into account the interests of the county. And so that's what we're challenging in our lawsuit. But I still represent Recorder Heap in other things.
But again, we're talking about a situation where one county official is going after other county officials and vice versa.
And when that happens, I step back and appoint separate attorneys for them. So I'm an observer in this case regarding the elections.
Real quickly, I know this is a case ongoing, so you can't say too much about it, but the accused killer of those two kids, the campers in Mount Ord, the status of that case, it sounds like you're not going for the death penalty on this, and I'm wondering why.
Well, while I can't talk about this case, let me kind of go through the process that I do for every case of first-degree murder. Obviously, I'm going to get a recommendation from senior attorneys in my office. I'm going to read extensively about the case. I'm going to look for the worst of the worst, and certainly the murder of two teenagers is awful. I'm going to talk to, or have my attorneys talk to, family members and get their input, because when we seek the death penalty, some of them want closure, and they're not going to get closure for a very, very long time, decades sometimes. I'm also looking at mitigation that's provided me that may be about mental health issues from the defense prior to making that decision. Unfortunately, I can't really talk about that, but all of that goes into this decision. If it was just based on how terrible the crime is, that would be different.
Is it based on the fact that going for the ultimate punishment might affect the jury outcome in one way or another?
I mean, that's certainly something I have to consider, and I also have to consider whether it's the type of evidence that, as I would say, stands the test of time. Because we know these cases sometimes don't make it to trial for 5 to 10 years. And if it's based on witnesses' memories and their availability, that's something I have to take into account.
Is this a decision that has to hold? Is it a decision you could change at a later date?
There is a deadline by which we have to do it. There are some limited circumstances under which we could revisit it, but largely the decision is made.
Hey, before you go, and we're running out of time, and I'm sorry about that, but the human trafficking awareness campaign that you've got going, your office is responsible for and moving with. What's that all about? Well,
it's about, we just had Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and we got a stipend or an appropriation from the legislature this past year to really tackle human trafficking. And as you know, right here in Phoenix, we have a major thoroughfare that's used for human trafficking, 27th Avenue. And so we've been using that money to really target that area and clean it up, because this is not a victimless crime. It destroys communities. Obviously, the people that are trafficked are horrifically victimized.
Have you seen results so far?
Yes, we have. We have been able to rescue some minors, for example, off of 27th Avenue. We have prosecuted a number of people, so we are seeing results.
Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell. Welcome to Check Please Arizona, the show where Arizona residents recommend their favorite restaurants. This time, we have 3 mayors from 3 cities talking about their must-eat-at spots.
We have a city showcase with all the Arizona cities, and Tempe actually featured Mayor Wood's chips.
My one regret was I didn't order extra naan. It was fantastic.
I was curious if he actually used a fork and he just picked them up with his hands. Because I went with the hands.
Watch Thursday at 7 p.m. on Arizona PBS.
Now hear this. I'm Scott Yu. Join me in Istanbul to find out why the city sounds like no other. Take in an astonishing variety of music. Now hear this. The Call of Istanbul on Great Performances.
Friday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
A new program called Unbroken is designed to help active military and veterans, along with first responders and others on the front lines who are facing PTSD and substance abuse challenges. And to learn more, we welcome the program's leader and 30-year U.S. Navy veteran, Bill Reynolds. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for the invite.
Give me a better definition of Unbroken.
Unbroken is the name that we came up for this new program that we have at the Meadows. It demonstrates resilience, people that have been through a lot of adverse experiences, but they're still standing.
And we're talking, as I mentioned, active military, veterans, also first responders and public safety personnel, correct?
Yes, sir.
And
yeah.
how does that work?
Well, you know, we know that the veterans and the first responders in general, it's an underserved population, not necessarily because they don't have access to care, but because of the stigma. So, you know, this is a population that wants to, you know, do it on their own. They have a certain amount of shame for asking for help. So we're doing everything that we can to break that stigma.
So with that in mind, it's very interesting that you say that, because these are people that don't want to ask for help because they don't think asking for help is what, the right thing to do, the strong thing to do?
There's a strong thing, definitely. But for example, with law enforcement, you know, there's a big stigma that they might lose their jobs for asking for help.
Oh, interesting.
And that's the greatest fear of any law enforcement officer, is to lose their gun or their badge.
So how does your treatment differ from other methods in dealing, let's say, with a more focused group, with dealing with veterans?
So what we do at the Meadows is it's a holistic program. It's not a cookie-cutter treatment program. There's a lot of one-size-fits-all programs out there. So what we do is every single treatment every plan is individualized. We do a head-to-toe physical examination on people. We do lab work, and everybody gets a complete psychiatric evaluation. And based upon their needs, we tailor their programming to what they need.
It's described as a therapeutic environment. What does that mean?
So it's not an inpatient program. It's not a hospital. It's a residential program located in Wickenburg. Beautiful surroundings. People typically come to the campus for 30 to 45 days, and it's just a real serene, healing environment with supportive staff and peers for them as well.
You mentioned the Meadows.
Yes,
it's
sir.
there at the Meadows, very well-known place.
Yes.
For these sorts of fully integrated with the Meadows?
Yes, sir.
So you are the Meadows then, but a
sir.
different branch.
Correct.
How important is that?
Well, what we do is, you know, with veterans and first responders, they seem to respond best when they're amongst like-minded people, right? So we have me as a 30-year Navy veteran, and a lot of my staff members are veterans, and we have former first responders on staff. So just having that additional connection for them really makes a world of difference.
I see that it also includes the Meadows Brain Center.
Yes.
What is that, and why is that important?
So the Meadows Brain Center is it's neurofeedback. It's a form of therapy where we have neurofeedback technicians, and it's basically learning to sort of re-regulate your nervous system through different devices that we have.
Is that like biofeedback used to be?
Same thing, yes,
Same kind
sir.
of thing, but
Yes.
just more advanced, huh?
Correct.
Okay. How did you get involved? You're 30-year U.S. Navy. You should be in San Diego somewhere or in Florida or something
agree.
like that. Yeah, but you're here in Arizona and you're doing this. How'd you get here?
I wanted to give back because, you know, during my 30 years in the Navy, probably one of the turning points I had was a deployment to Iraq with a surgical company with the Marines back in 2004. And I was witness to a lot of things, and I had my own struggles for a little bit when I did get back to San Diego. And I just know the importance. I know that treatment works. and there's still a big need for it.
When you were experiencing the treatment in whatever way that you did, could you say that this is working, this is not working? Could you figure out what was best?
Yes, sir.
But at the time it was happening, you could figure it out.
Well, it was difficult. I had a lot of guidance. I had a lot of good Navy medicine people working with me to help guide my path.
And experience with working with first responders, how does that differ, or does it differ?
It doesn't really differ that much. I mean, I always say in the military, when we deploy overseas, for 6-7 months, or in the Army, sometimes for a year, at least we get to come back to the States for a while and take a break. With first responders, they're on the streets every day. So over time, we call that cumulative trauma.
Yes.
So they don't really get much of a break from that.
And we kind of referred to this earlier, but again, the importance of the culture.
Yes.
The military, of first responders, public safety professionals, that has to play into this.
Yes, it does.
And is that why it is focused toward these people and not necessarily those of us on the outside?
Correct. There's a wonderful book called Tribe that was written by a guy named Sebastian Junger, and everybody that comes into treatment gets a copy of that book. But it talks about the importance of human connection, and there's an extra sort of additional importance of that with this population. There's just sort of an automatic built-in brotherhood and sisterhood with veterans and first responders.
When you started this program, did you envision what it is right now?
I'm not. We still have a lot of things that I want to do, but we certainly are off to a good start. And yes, sir, we have.
And you're seeing results.
We are. We're getting great feedback. It's just wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. So the program's been around for how long?
We just started it 2 months ago.
2 months ago? Oh, goodness gracious.
Yes.
You do got a long way to go then, don't you?
We do, but we're off to a good start.
Well, where do you find out more? And again, where do you find out more about this particular program as opposed to the Meadows in general? Or do you have to go through the Meadows?
Go to the Meadows website. And something that's important to realize is, the Meadows has been treating first responders and veterans for many, many years. I mean, the Meadows has been around for 50 years. We do trauma treatment very well. So we're just adding some additional services for this population. But if you go to the Meadows Behavioral Health, you can find out about Unbroken.
Very good. Bill Reynolds, again, the program is Unbroken. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
A new 3-part documentary on Henry David Thoreau aired last month here on Arizona PBS. The series touched on Thoreau's ideas regarding, among other things, nature, society, and democracy. We learn more about the documentary from the film's directors, Eric and Chris Ewers, along with Dr. Lois Brown from ASU's Center for the Study of Race and Democracy. Thank you all for joining us here on Arizona Horizon. It's good to have you here. Lois, we're going to start with you. Who was Henry David Thoreau?
He was a remarkable man of the 19th century. He was a phenomenal reader, writer, thinker, naturalist, scientist, and he's somebody that the Ewers brothers, Eric and Chris, are introducing us to all over again.
And before we get to the Ewers brothers over here, as far as Thoreau is concerned, it seems like he seems mysterious. Emerson seems mysterious. Thoreau seems why is that?
Well, I think it might be because they tend to be imagined as men of great thought and deliberation, and that they're huddled together, thinking great thoughts and transcending, when in fact they're actually looking very deliberately at the world around them. They're taking stock of things, they're taking note of each other, they're trying to imagine a life that is quiet, deliberate, purposeful, brave, and they're really tapping into who they want to be as Americans and who they want to be as humans.
Chris, how difficult was that to get onto film?
It was not an easy task when you're dealing with, the prose of the 19th century and of course, these as Lois said, these really sort of high-minded and misunderstood individuals and their experiences and contributions. Our job was, part of our job, we believe, was to set the story straight, to reintroduce Henry, the Transcendentalists, even the Concord of the 19th century, to the masses. I mean, he is not the prophetic hermit that at least I was taught,
Yeah.
And that I think most people believe that he is. When, in fact, thinking of him as such sort of diminishes the relatability between, what was an everyman full of contradictions and discoveries and us.
How do you balance that? The everyman, but a special everyman. How do you get that across?
Well, it's an interesting question because I think in his time, he was an ordinary guy. He was eccentric, but he was also social. A lot of people, like Chris said, thought he was a prophetic hermit. He used to host melon parties. He would walk around and associate with all different characters in town. He was well known. And I think our goal was really to show the real Henry David Thoreau. A man who's much more complicated than anyone could possibly imagine, and, as we discovered, more relevant today than he was in his own time. His words and his wisdom, his pursuit of being an individual, his pursuit of finding the truth inside of himself, of what is meaningful, what is purposeful, what is joyful to him, is something that we can really learn today.
And Lois, the impact of Thoreau on nonviolent resistance, on modern environmentalism, all these sorts of things. As Eric mentioned, I mean, that impact seems to be growing.
Absolutely. He is a man of the 21st century and beyond. He's somebody who reminds us of the power of now, but also the power of taking stock of what has been, tracking it, and then thinking about the future that's ahead. So he's paying attention to just exquisite environmental details. And then he's also thinking about the larger picture of what it means to inhabit the world and to travel it.
And doing all this in antebellum America here, this is before the Civil War. There were obviously race issues here and there, hither and yon, back in his position there. What did he see? How did he address it?
Oh, that is such a deep and just powerful question. I think part of the power of the new Henry David Thoreau that we get as a result of the work that Chris and Eric have done is that we see him as a man looking at these moments in abolition. He's in a household where women are leading the charge as anti-slavery advocates, and they're doing it as individuals, as families, and as collectives. He is also working on the Underground Railroad, making sure that people who have emancipated themselves from enslavement are able to make their way to a land of freedom. Yeah. So he's very much involved.
Chris, she mentioned Thoreau. I've been talking about Thoreau. What is it?
It's whichever you choose. We come to find out, in research and making the production of the film, that there was a letter that Nathaniel Hawthorne had written in the margins of which he phonetically writes out Thoreau with the accent on the first syllable as opposed to the second. We grew up in Massachusetts, as did Lois, and we all grew up saying Thoreau.
Yeah.
There's French scholarship that says that it's Taureau. So basically, it's however you're comfortable saying it.
All right, Eric, I'm not going to call him Toro, okay? We're stopping right at
and don't call him Hank.
Yeah, I'm going to call him Hank either. How difficult was it to do? Is this the first full-length documentary on this man?
To be fair, it's not the first full-length documentary. There was an independent filmmaker who endeavored to tell his story, but it is the first nationally broadcast documentary, and we found it. It was remarkable to us that no one had addressed him as a important, prominent historical American. And the deeper we dug into reading his essays, reading his books, I found myself shouting to my wife, saying, "Oh my God, he's talking about fashion. He's talking about a mortgage versus renting, and he's just so critical of society." And the best line I think he ever wrote was, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation."
That's where that came from, huh?
Henry David Thoreau.
I've heard that line before.
And it's such a remark. I mean, who doesn't have an element of quiet desperation in their life? all the things that we have to deal with.
Well, and you had to deal with making a Ken Burns film. How challenging was that?
Well, I think Ken has instilled in us over the course of many decades sort of the foundation of great storytelling. So, I mean, making a Ken Burns film, only Ken Burns can make a Ken Burns film. We made a Ewers Brothers film that was executive produced by Ken Burns, and not only Ken Burns, but Don Henley, who was deeply involved in the history and preservation of Walden Woods and the Walden Pond.
So it's not a Ken Burns film, but he's looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, it's Ken Burns Presents.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
I edited for him for 37 years.
Wow.
So I studied on almost my joke is ever since the Civil War.
I got you. Before we go, Lois, last thought on this. When you saw the film, the first time you saw the film, did you, of all people, did you learn anything?
I learned so much. I learned that no matter how much we think we know, there's always more to know. I learned that the public face of a person only gives you a hint of who they are, and that it's so important for us to keep going back to the letters, to the diaries, to the moments, to the news, to the headlines, and then look over their shoulders and see who they were in that world. So it's a profound film.
Yeah, well, congratulations to all concerned here. Lois, thank you so much. Chris, Eric, Ewers Brothers, congratulations on a great film. We've had you on with the Mayo Clinic, wasn't it?
That's
we had
right.
You on,
That's right.
8 years ago,
Many
something
moons
like that.
ago. Mm-hmm.
Keep on working, keep on doing it. Good to have you all here. Thanks
It's good
for
to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening. I like to think that at Arizona Horizon we are unique in the way that we present information, public policy, sometimes news, these sorts of things, because we have conversations, and I don't want conversations